I remember watching a basketball movie featuring a dog, a golden retriever to be exact. And while I was watching, it looked kind of weird. The roles were reversed. The dog was playing ball better than the humans. The dog stole the show. This had me in shock because it wasn't on a leash. It was shooting, defending, and passing the rock. The dog would pass the ball right, and the defenders would follow. Then it passed the ball left, and the defenders also went left. See, the humans weren't towing the dog was towing them. And upon watching this, I was like, dang, that's the power of a dog. I smiled at what I had just witnessed, but thought to myself, if a dog can play ball, then what about me? At first, I thought this was absurd, but it opened my eyes. Funny how a dog opened my eyes. I remember walking to the basketball court and saw a man walking his dog, a golden retriever to be exact. And while I was watching, it looked kind of weird. The roles were reversed. The dog was going on a walk better than the man. The dog stole control. This had me in shock because it wasn't really on a leash. It was grunting, pulling, taking his man on a walk. The dog would go right and the man would follow. Then the dog went left and the man also went left. See, the man wasn't walking his dog was walking him. And upon watching this, I was like, dang, that's the power of a dog. I smiled at what I had just witnessed, but thought to myself, if a dog can control a man, then can it control me? At first, I thought this was absurd, but it opened my eyes, because there's two sides on a leash. As much as I was watching a man getting walked by his dog, I was looking at a mirror, myself, or even a window, our world. There's two sides on a leash. We're getting walked by this dog called phone. I see it everywhere I go. It seems like we're walking it, but it's really walking us. To the right, to the left, at school, at home, at work, on the road, on the bus. There's two sides on a leash. Funny how a dog opened my eyes. Now let me open yours. 3 hours and 35 minutes. That's the average amount of time an individual spends on their phone every single day. 4 hours, 5 hours. That's the average amount of time I spent on my phone every single day ever since I got it in grade 9. And same with my friends, if not more. And see, that's exactly the problem. See, the problem isn't the phone itself as much as it's the imbalance of the time spent on it. When you spend approximately the same length of time on your phone as you do in all your classes, oof, more than you get sleep, unless you're doing something super productive that's really benefiting your life, well then keep it up. For all those hours, is it benefiting you for all those hours? I highly doubt it. But I don't know you guys personally. I just ask you all to be real with yourselves. A hard head makes a soft mind. Ask yourself, are the activities that I'm doing on my phone for all those hours really benefiting my life? Now, in terms of activities, I could tell you what the studies say, but it's evident that we know what's common on the screens. Social media, games, YouTube, Netflix, iMessage, all that. Personally, I spend so much time on Instagram just scrolling and scrolling, commenting, double tapping, looking at people's posts. But at the end of the day, I'm still the same person, except maybe a little bit more tired in the eyes. I feel more unproductive, and I start to feel sluggish. But yet I keep coming back to social media like it's a refrigerator. I open Instagram expecting there to be something yummy, but dang, it's all the same food. Now, in terms of games on my phone, I've never really had any except for Talking Tom, which was for this kid I was taking care of, obviously. But as for YouTube, I spent countless hours just watching videos and videos and videos, but never actually doing anything. And what I mean by that is, I was the type of person who would watch informational videos, how-tos, and DIYs, but never actually do. Now, there's no point in gaining knowledge if you're not going to use it, if you're not going to put it into action. It's true, knowledge is power, but imagine if Spider-Man kept his webs in the web slinger. What's the point of that power if you keep it inside, you feel me? Man. And so after being warped to my phone and put in this constant cycle of essentially nothingness for almost a year, based on my experiences and my observations from my peers, I've realized that maybe these phones are doing more harm than good in our lives. They've made us entertainment driven. Because of all the funny videos, games, and memes that are on our phones, we've become more prone to focusing on what's fun. Entertainment has become our culture, and it's diverted our eyes from things that actually matter. It's come to a point where many of us stress the daily life and daily choices of celebrities and the entertainment business and not really pay attention to our own life when we got our own problems. We pay attention to what's going on with the entertainment business and not see what's happening and not pay attention to the problems that common people are going through, including ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that having fun is bad. I'm not saying having fun is bad, but there's a time and place for everything. And if all our time and days were just focused on just having fun, how do we progress? How do we progress as an individual and as a whole? Because see, when we're having fun, we get comfortable. And when we're comfortable, we become stagnant, no progression. And when we're having fun, it doesn't last very long, and we continue to seek that fun and entertainment on, and it's become so big that it's become our daily mission just to have fun. Who cares about the hard work? Who cares about our dreams? Who cares about the priorities? Just have fun with your life, right? That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. But see, Albert Einstein once said, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but what he's trying to say is that if you repeat the same actions, you get the same results. But change is what makes us human. Whether you're already doing well, you can always get better. And if you're rock bottom, you can only go up. Change is what makes us human. It's the beauty of the daily metamorphosis that makes life a beautiful struggle. Progression. However, progression does not lie under the same umbrella as comfort and laziness. When you got an item that provides convenience at the same degree as a phone, laziness is not a surprising result. We don't gotta do much to satisfy our desires when it's as simple as a press. But again, life is way more than just comfort zones. Yes, I get it. Sometimes we just want to chill and bask in relaxation. And yes, the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Now, speaking of growth, don't you think it'll be harder to sleep after a long day of rest? Oh, man. After a long day of rest, how do you take a vacation from a vacation? Like, you're already chilling in Hawaii in your hammock. It does not make sense to fly to Barbados or Jamaica to relax from your relaxation. You've been chilling all day on your couch, just lounging around on your phone. It does not, of course, it's gonna be harder to sleep. You've been relaxing all day doing nothing. How do you rest from nothing, bruh? Come on now. Now, with lack of sleep, there comes a high risk for anxiety, stress, and depression. Therefore, our phones can make us less happy. It's the result of being entertainment-driven, sleep-deprived, and lazy. And lazy. But it's also a very common effect coming from social media. America's 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt, believes that comparison is the thief of joy. And while we're on social media, just scrolling and scrolling, our minds start to create an image of what beauty looks like, of what success looks like, of what talents looks like, what skills looks like, what good life looks like. And we subconsciously start to compare ourselves to what we see on social media. Like, I wish I looked like her. I wish I looked like him. I wish I had their clothes, their talents, their riches. I wish I had their life, their skills. I wish I was them. But the truth of the matter is that people only post their highlights, their best moments in life. That's not really how they're living, but who would really want to post that? Who would really want to post their biggest flaws, insecurities, and fears on social media? Like, no one just goes on Instagram and puts #nosebleed, but I'm still blessed. Like, no. Like when your nose is bleeding, you don't want to show people that, right? No one goes on social media and puts hashtag I got a foot fetish. No. Like, dang. No. People post what they want the world to see, so it's not valid for us to be comparing what we see on social media. We shouldn't even be comparing our lives in the first place. Comparison is the thief of joy. Why are we letting these posts steal our joy? Why are we even letting these phones stir the emotions of comparison? Why are we letting these phones make us entertainment driven? Why are we letting these phones make us lazy, sleep deprived, leashed? This is what I mean. Why are we letting these phones control our time? And see, our time is our days, and our days is our life. Why are we letting these phones control our life? Leashed. Man. So now this next part, I really want y'all to hear. So can you just check the person sitting beside you if they're still paying attention? Because if you were ignoring the whole thing, tell them to listen to this part right now. All right, you can't listen if you're talking. We're only awake for about 15 hours a day. So along with school or work and other activities, plus time spent on our phones, how much time do we have to reflect, to just evaluate our actions and decisions, our daily lives? How much time do we have for our emotions? Now, when I say emotions, y'all are probably thinking about somebody who's depressed, someone who's crying, someone who's sensitive, someone who's sad. But see, emotions are so much more than that. It's the butterflies I got before stepping behind the mic or the lapel. It's the anger we have for our morning alarm clocks. It's the grudge we hold for homework. It's our craving for ice cream, for chicken. It's why we have favorite colors, favorite foods, favorite sports. It's why we get along with certain people and not get along with others. It's why we do certain things and make certain decisions. Emotions are what makes us human. Emotions are what makes you you. But how often do you reflect on yourself? Or does it not matter? Yeah, I understand that you gotta be tough and not pay attention to your emotions because that seems soft. But sorry to break it to you, but you kind of have to live with your emotions for the rest of your life as a human being. Just kind of. The same way you can't run from your shadow, you can't run from your emotions. And yes, it might disappear in the dark, but it's always going to come back. So how often do you reflect on your emotions? Or do we just ignore it? But see, ignorance, I believe, is why we make poor choices. Last year in grade 9, we read this play by William Shakespeare. And in 12th night, there's this one quote that really stuck with me. There is no darkness but ignorance. And that's just facts. It's only because of ignorance that people make poor decisions. It's only because of ignorance that people hurt each other, why people kill each other. And I believe it's because of ignorance why we're even leashed by these phones, why bad habits enter us like an open house. It's because of ignorance. It's because of ignorance why we're being controlled by these phones. Because see, to really be in control of your life, you really got to know yourself. It's kind of like a video game. To be good at a video game, you got to know all the controls to the game and how to actually play. In the same manner, you got to know all the controls to yourself, your emotions inside and out to actually flourish. But how often do we reflect? How often do we just reflect on our emotions? I urge you guys to cut the ignorance. Cut the ignorance, because our emotions are what makes us human. And there's this question that I often come across. It goes like, so if we keep up the same patterns of living, how do you think our lives are going to look like in 100 years? And the common answer that I see is, well, if we keep up the same patterns of living, a lot of things are going to be done by robots. And I could agree with that. But it's not necessarily the robots that we create with technology as much as it is the robots that technology create in us by stripping us from our emotions, what makes us human, programming us to be entertainment driven, lazy and sleep deprived procrastinators. It's the robots that these phones are creating in us. Unless we cut the ignorance, then we're all gonna be just like Siri, man. But how do we cut it? How do we cut the ignorance? What's the solution to being leashed? What's the solution to ignorance? Well, ironically, the answer is a question. Everything starts from a question. Don't we say, "How are you?" to start a conversation? Don't we brainstorm around one idea, one question before we start planning? Because see, it's through questions that really get us thinking, that really get us reflecting. Our teachers ask us questions to help us learn. They don't just give us a paper full of answers. We won't really care about it. They get us thinking to actually do things. They ask questions, because everything starts from a question. And it's only through questions that I really started to see my flaws and my mistakes in my life. I still use my phone today, only for an hour now, or about an hour. And I still text people. I love talking to people, but I don't know about you, but there's something that feels more human about talking in person. I don't know though. And off my phone, I realized there's so many more opportunities, so many more people to meet, experiences I've yet to encounter, and dreams waiting to be chased. But I can only truly chase those dreams when I'm off my leash. Because see, your true potential cannot be unleashed unless you're unleashed. I made that quote. True potential cannot be unleashed unless you, dang, it feels good to just repeat it. Oh my God. I made the quote, man. Unless you're unleashed, dang. But it all starts from questions. It's questions that build up the curiosity that could potentially take off that leash. And if everything starts from a question, let me conclude by starting you off. Are you on a leash?